Be looking at a Drampa Garbodor deck that recently did well at Oceania and Collinsville. I don't have any of the exact list, but from what I've heard and been able to gather, it's pretty similar to Aaron Tarbell's list from he used in Collinsville to, I believe, top 16. I believe it may be one or two cards off, so this is not my own list but his own. And this an Espeon Garbodor deck recently made recently won the seniors division in Oceania. So obviously in Drampa Rotor, Drampa GX, one of our main attackers. Righteous Edge for 20, discards a special energy. This is really good in the special energy reliant format. Can hit 50 choice band. Then Berserk does 80 plus 70 more if there's any damage counters on your bench Pokemon. That seems kind of hard to set up, but it's actually not that quite difficult because we do run ways in this deck to get damage on our bench Pokemon to hit for this 150. We can hit for 180 if we have a choice band attached. A Big Will GX is really good early game or late game too if you get into a low hand size and have a good hand. As you shuffle your hand to your deck and draw 10. Usually the way how it ends up playing out is shuffle your hand in your deck and draw 6 because your opponent will immediately end or find a way to get an end if they have access to it. But if not, you get 10 cards in your hand and a huge tempo swing in the game. We also want a 1/1 Espeon GX line as an alternate attacker. Energy Evolution on Eevee lets you get it into play immediately as soon as you attach a Psychic Energy. And it has 3 really good attacks. Psybeam for 30, it confuses the active Pokemon. Confusion can make it hard for your opponent to attack. With a choice band hits for 120 for 1 Psychic against Buzzwole. Psychic does 60 plus 30 more times the amount of energy attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. Again, really good against Buzzwole and anything else Psychic weak, as well as Gardevoir GX when it has a bunch of energy attached to it. And Divide GX lets you put 10 damage counters wherever you want. You can pick off things that are almost dead, as well as set damage on things for devolutions. We're on a 4/4 Trubbish, 4 Garbodor line, running 2 of each Garbodor, 2 Garbotoxin shut off abilities in an ability reliant format, as well as 2 Trash Lance, which does 20 times the amount of item cards in your opponent discard. So a really good late game attacker. It can force your opponent to play maybe slower than they would to try to limit Trash Lance's damage. But even if they do limit Trash Lance's damage, they can find it hard to deal with the Drampas and our Espeon as we put on early pressure. Run 1 Tapu Koko for free retreat and Flying Flip to spread 20 everywhere. Also run a Latios from Shining Legends, which does 30 and 30 for DCE. It's kind of a more concentrated, slightly weaker version of Tapu Koko, but it's also Psychic, so it hits really hard against Psychic weak things. It can one-shot a Mew EX if they try to use it to respond to an Espeon GX with the Choice Band, as well as allowing you to kind of like siphon all your damage on the 2 targets instead of maybe spreading 20 everywhere. And Espeon GX, with all this damage spread, Miraculous Shine devolves each of your opponent's Pokemon, as well as if your opponent has already played all the rare candies and they rely on stage 2s, you can just evolve, and if no way to re-evolve them, they're cut off. Run 2 Tapu Lele GX to search for supporters for consistency, even though we are running a Garbotoxin deck. We run 1 Kartana GX, which this was an interesting inclusion that I never would have thought of myself. Slice Off is basically an enhanced hammer when you bench it, and the GX attack lets you just take a prize card. So if late game you're struggling to take that last prize, you could just Kartana GX, use Blade GX, and just take a prize card. So going on our supporters, we 2 Professor Sycamore, so a really strong draw supporter. N can be really good to 3N to set your opponent down to a low hand size. And one of the main things Garbodor decks, Garbotoxin decks gain Ultra Prism with Cynthia. Lets you shuffle in your hand in your deck and draw 6. One of the main ways to beat a Garbodor deck is because they used to be way less consistent for Cynthia, was just ending them low late game. This now gives you an access to 4 more draw supporters in your deck, as well as just consistent draw throughout the game. Run 3 Guzma, 1 Bridget that just helps search out your basics turn 1 with the Lele, as well as 1 inclusion, Lusamine, so that you get back 2 combination supporters in stadiums. So this can usually get back supporters late games, or even some of our Po-Town if they all happen to be discarded. Which when you evolve, you can put 3 damage. Your opponent has to put 3 damage counters on a Pokemon. We can use this to evolve Garbodors on our bench to get the damage necessary to power up Berserk, as well as having residual damage build up on our opponent's board. And for items, we play 4 Ultra Balls, search out Pokemon. We play 4 Floatstone, do all things that we have that have heavy retreat, as well as we need a tool for Garbotoxin to activate. Run 3 Choice Bands to do more damage. You can also activate Garbotoxin if we really need to. Run 1 Rescue Stretcher to get back Pokemon, 1 Field Blower to discard tools. Discarding tools also puts more items in the discard for Trash Avalanche. And for the energy, run 6 Psychic to help power up our attackers, and for energy evolution, run 2 Unit Energy, since this counts for all the Psychic energy we need for our deck, as well as Metal Energy for Cortana GX, and you could Electro Ball if you really needed to. So it's 4 double colorless energies to help power up all of our attackers that require colorless energy. Anyways, that's the deck. Doesn't run a whole lot of unique cards, but it's really powerful in what it does. Let's take it into a game and see how it works. I found a game against Haunter Master, and they're calling the flip. So let's see the outcome. Okay, so we won the flip, so we definitely want to go first since our main attackers want usually require around 2 energy attachments, as well as this one to evolve Garbodors onto the bench with Potowns to get our maximum damage potential. And this doesn't look like it's the best starting hand, but we do have a supporter. So that's a lot better than most games that we happen to be dead draws on PTCGO. So we'll see what we're playing against. And just top decking a Bridget would just be great. But nope, didn't happen. So I'm going to attach the Floatstone here so I have a way to retreat this Tapu Lele since it's a very inefficient attacker against Tapu Koko. We're just going to bench the Tapu Koko, bench the Drampa, attach to the Drampa, and retreat into the Tapu Koko since it has free retreat. And just pass. If he does choose the Flying Flip, he will trigger Berserk, which I don't think is what he wants to do. It looks like we're playing in Zoroark Golisopod. So missing a Trubbish turn 1 really hurts. But we're just going to have to Ultra Ball for hope our second Tapu Lele is in there, and it is. We're going to bench it, grab a Sycamore. I think flying flipping and forcing him to hit 120 could be our best bet. So his Potown is big too, saying that we basically forcing him to take even more damage if he chooses to evolve. And this Ultra Ball is really tough. I think we have to get rid of Double Colorless Energy and Guzma, even though we already get rid of Guzma. As our third one in deck, that's important to know. It is, but we also have the Lusamine to recover it late game if we need to. But we just really need to get a Trubbish out this turn. So we're just going to Flying Flip. Next turn we can attach the DCE here, or wherever we may need to, depending on what happens. Rescue Stretcher for Garbotoxin and Cynthia, hoping to hit a tool. So it looks like he will end up having the Grass Energy. Although, what may be a really neat de-evolution play to do it is now that everything will get 50 if he evolves using the Zoroarks. What we can do is he's an NS, so it doesn't really matter. So what we could do is we could Rescue Stretcher Tapu Koko, reattach to it, Flying Flip again, put 70 on everything, and then after that be able to just de-evolve everything since nothing will have enough HP to stay in. So if he doesn't hit a Grass Energy or another basic Zoroark GX Double Colorless Energy, we can end up just... Oh, he does hit the... have a Parallelcity, so we will just put that into play there. And Ultra Ball probably for his Zoroark. Unfortunately for us, he doesn't get the it won't get 3 damage from the Potown. He also has discarded 2 puzzles and 4 items so far. So that is good for us here. So he's going to trade away Sycamore. So his last card's probably a supporter or an energy. It is Zorua. He does hit the DC he needs. So I believe this turn, our best course of action is, I believe, to just... We do have the Kartana GX. So what we could do is we could Lusamine for Potown Guzma, next turn N, but we'd only be able to Righteous Edge this turn. I think now is the turn to Lusamine. We'll bench this Trubbish here. Lusamine. Back to Potown and Guzma. And what we're doing is we're just going to take it slow and kind of Big Wheel GX this turn. We'll evolve this to get the bench damage onto a Garbodor. Get rid of this double colorless energy. And then retreat in Big Wheel. Now we're forcing him. We don't find DC, but we do find more supporters. So he has no way he can knock this out. And so hopefully we're forcing him to discard more items. Or, I guess he doesn't miss the DCE ever, but we do get another 50 there. 30 there. So one more flying flip and we're really close to de-evolution play. So I believe our best option this turn is to just we are going for this de-evolution play, take everything off his board and 3 prizes, hopefully. So we're going to hit this for 70. Attach this here. There's 5 items, so Trash Lance isn't the worst attacker right now. But Ultra Ball away Bridget and I think Unit Energy, because we want to keep the basic Psychic in there. I'm going to grab Garbotoxin and Cynthia. Now, I believe we have to keep the N, although it would be nice to kind of get our Drampa into play and attach an energy to it. Attaching energy Trash Lance is still a big enough threat. Saying he has already played 2 puzzles, and there's 2 DCs in this card. The odds of him hitting this under ability lock is really low, so I believe our Drampa's safe. And even though it seemed like we were under pressure the entire game, the ability to just manipulate the game with Garbotoxin with the additional consistency boost of Cynthia was really crucial. So this card energy has spread damage set up for a big devolution play. Even though our opponent scooped before we could get the big the Vol from Espeon GX in the play, you can see how the deck was able to kind of, even though taking a slower approach, take control of the game and eventually grind it out to either devolving all our opponent's Pokemon or just swinging with a big Trash Lance at one-shot anything in its path. So anyways, thanks for watching, and put in the comments what you want to see next time, and